All ready and rearing to go on the start line. West London VR Test Race 2 before the Monday Malarkey Series starts. A dozen or so volunteer riders on the line there waiting to go, and off they go, shooting off very, very fast. And this is reminiscent of a lot of the races we run. Short races, just 13 kilometres this one, just over in fact. And so it is always going to be fast and furious. You look at the course at the bottom there, you can see the grey profile of the course, and you can see there's one big lump just after halfway and a second lump just after that. So that's where the race may or may not be won or lost. At the moment though, a couple of riders off the back. It looks like David Tobin and Brett Smith haven't got off the start line fast enough. Tobias Bjork there just scrambling to get on the back of the peloton and just makes it on. So that gives us about 10 riders in that peloton, and that will be where the race winner is going to come from already. So we're only, what should we say, only less than a kilometre into the race really, and already you've got that split. Now, how long will the peloton hold together? There's one of two tactics here really. You attack on the hill and see if you can drop everybody there, or maybe you just go for fast traditional racing off the front. Now at the moment 0% gradient as we go through the lap 1 start line. Not quite sure why it does that, but it does, and we'll find out why. 2 riders off the front already. This is interesting. That is Top Jimmy riding for West London, and Pete Mills, I think. So Pete Mills for Saddle Drunk. Pete Mills in the yellow jersey. The pink, red, and black jerseys R3R. If they've got yellow in, they're probably Saddle Drunk riders. Not always. The West London riders in blue and white, but Tobias wearing green and white there hasn't. I think the thing to understand here is you might be in a team, but unless you're actually subscribed and paying, you don't get the option of the team kit. So not everybody gets the perfect team kit. You see 2 of the R3R riders there in the proper R3R kit, and we've got Alex Gold in the proper Saddle Drunk kit, who we can't see quite in that shot, but we'll point him out shortly. He's over the other side, black jersey with the yellow band round the white and yellow band around the middle. So that's Alex Gold. Look out for him running for Saddle Drunk. A couple of Saddle Drunk riders in here, 2 from R3R and 2 from West London. It's Top Jimmy and Tobias Bjork. So plenty to go on. I think there's 3 actually from Saddle Drunk. I'll take that back. Ingmar van Boers as well from Ratio Racing, one of the top teams in the other races we run. So many of the racers familiar to us. Jeff Desmond, Feel Good Racing in there, and we have Yann Le Goff from France riding for FFX. So other than that, they're all riders that I think we know from our other races quite well. Oh, even Oystensen from R3R I haven't mentioned. We know him quite well as well. So some familiar riders in there. Pete Mills riding for Saddle Drunk, of course, and let's see what happens. This bunch sticking together quite well. Now, the feedback we've had from a lot of riders is that they do like the drafting here on Indy Velo. It's getting a lot of good feedback. Now, of course, most things that you'll see on here do have plenty of bots in, but these races will be bot free, and we're not worried about the smaller field as a result, because you'll be racing real people, and that's who really, I guess, you want to test yourself against. There is nothing wrong with bots, we're not saying that, but we want our races to be humans only. You're quite welcome to go and do bot ones as well, and of course bots, can add something to a race and give you pace, something to pace to as well. So who have we got in the front? Top Jimmy, of course, riding for West London VR. The front's been taken over by Tobias Bjork, also from West London VR, and Evan Oystensen from R3R in there as well. Pete Mills, as we said, from Saddle Drunk, along with Alex Gold. So the groups, there's 2 groups now. You can see the riders at the front. There's 10 riders in that front group. There's a second group, Group 2, Brett Smith and David Tobin, both got left behind at the start. It is quite important to get away very, very quickly at the start if you want to stay inside one of those pelotons. So this, not a lot happening. Everybody using the draft very, very favourably at the moment. There are in fact 3 saddle drunk riders in there, all in yellow and black, various combinations. And as I say, the one West London rider, the two West London riders, one were in pink, that's Top Jimmy, one were in green, that's Tobias Bjork. In the black is Jeff Desmond, and we're going to go back and look at the other group. As you can see here, what the two riders here, David Tobin on the left wearing the full West London VR kit because he's obviously paid for the subscription. Meanwhile, Brett Smith on the right in the pink and blue, just taking the club colours and making one up. And although it's not quite the club colours, you can see that there are loads and loads of options here in Indy Velo to make kits. And you saw the saddle drunk riders doing the same, putting the club colours into combinations so that they could identify themselves. So if you can't get the full kit of your club because you're not paying yet and you're on the beta version, so be it. So looking back here at the front group, still tightly together, and Alex Gold in the saddle drunk kit, as we said, Pete Mills and so on and so forth. All the yellow and black riders are, of course, saddle drunk riders. Light blue, red and black shorts, they'll be R3R. Peloton staying together. I mean, there's a little bit of stretching going on now, and this is I did mention that the one of the tactics might be to stretch the front, and you can see that effort on the front from Jan Ligoff from France. Did stretch things out a little bit. It was bunched before that, but he's pulled it out. Top Jimmy joining him up the front there, and up comes Alex Gold to join him, and a couple of pulling away now. It's Jan van Gogh and Jeff Desmond in the yellow shirt now for Feel Good Racing. So Jeff Desmond and all pushing off the front, making a little bit of effort. Ingmar van Beurs now, Ratio Racing, hadn't mentioned him yet. So he rides for Ratio Racing. They usually wear black and orange, and you can see that he's chosen an all black kit, which is not far off what Ratio riders look like from a distance, because they've got the orange motif on them. But Ingmar putting on a bit of a spurt at the front. Now we are quite a way into the race. We've got 8.5 kilometres left to go. So we're a good 5 kilometres into the race. Peloton still holding together. No one really pulling away as Ingmar van Beurs jockeys for position with Top Jimmy at the front there. Alex Gold, Evan Oystensen from R3R, Tobias Bjork and Jeff Drummond. Jack Somerset, we haven't mentioned, is the other saddle drunk rider, of course. So Jack Somerset, Alex Gold and one other are making up the team there. Pete Mills, of course. Sorry, one other. Pete Mills. Sorry, Pete. Remember, if you were here for race one, these are test races. We're just seeing how it goes without the bots and making sure that the races work from both your point of view and ours. We have tweaked a couple of things since test one, but in that race, Alex Gold pulled away very much, and at the end, very strongly, very cannily, took a corner where everybody slowed down and accelerated faster than anybody else out of it, created a gap, and they just could not close it. And that took them away. R3R taking up the front of the race now, joined by Top Jimmy and Ingmar van Beurs, and up comes the Frenchman Jan Ligoff to join them. R3R still on the front now. This, of course, is it's Ingmar van Beurs now, isn't it? Rob Miller from America riding for R3R, and he's very much the guy who organises the teams there and does a lot of hard work. So it stretched a little bit. Tobias Bjork just managing to get himself back into the bunch there, and we've only got 8 riders in this bunch now, so it's thinned down a little bit. Peter Mills dropping out there. Peter Mills, I think, has had a small dropout and just lost some time, so it's not I don't think it's going to be fatal. The gap is 45 seconds. If you just look to the left of the list of riders, you'll see the list of groups there. It's holding about 45, 46 seconds for Pete. He will lose time because he's not in the peloton, but Group 2 now is just a solo rider, Pete Mills, with Brett and David quite a way behind him. The time gaps on there are from the top, they're from the front and not from the previous groups. That's Brett and Co 1 minute 40 seconds behind the leaders, not 1 minute 40 seconds behind Pete Mills, who's 49 seconds behind the front group. Peloton holding together still, and got everybody in there still. Jeff Drummond from Feel Good Racing. On the front at the moment is, of course, Jack Somerset riding for Ratio. Ingmar van Beur's taking a little turn on the front as everybody pushes out the pressure. I don't think Ingmar's breaking anything up, and they're not racing to haul him back. I think they're just steadily going to reel him in there. And Tobias sitting on the back dangerously. There is a little bit of a split towards the back now. That's Tobias Bjork and Jack Somerset falling off. Jack Somerset gets himself back on. Is Tobias in trouble? That gap's getting big and it's getting longer. Tobias could be off the back. The West London VR rider looks like he's lost the group. He's in a group of his own now. Pete Mills 43 seconds behind him. And somebody's dropped out. That's Top Jimmy with a mechanical at the side of the road. I assume that's some sort of dropout. Looking back, he's not moving. He's not catching up at all. Now deemed another group on the road. You can see Top Jimmy now behind Jeff Desmond, and there's Top Jimmy absolutely motionless, and James will be disappointed with that. I'm assuming the lack of movement means that nothing is being remedied anytime soon as we go back to Tobias York off the back of the group, and so is Jeff Desmond as well. Jeff now off the group thinning out, and if you look at the profile, we're on the hill, and that's what's doing it. I don't think it caused Jimmy's blowout, but the hill is doing some damage, and there's a little bit of a split in those that are left at the front. Just look how many groups there are now. It's deeming there to be 5 groups at the moment. The front group now down to 5 riders, 6 in fact if you include Evan Oystensen, who is a little bit off the back but could get back on. The gradient going up quite a lot now at 6%, and Evan is off the back, so R3R down to 1 rider in the pack. I don't think Evan's going to get back onto that, so we've seen this thinning process already, and R3R's Rob Miller pushing on the front. The Frenchman Jan Le Goff riding for FFX on his tail, but the group's holding together. Ratio riders got Ingmar van Beur's in there, but it's saddle drunk with 2 riders in the dominant team position here as they crawl up this hill. Gradient right up to 10% now, and this is going to be hurting, and you can see the effect it's having. Slightly splitting the peloton, but there's not enough there to make it absolutely fracture. Everybody claws their way back on again. The Frenchman Jan Le Goff is at the front, but there's not a lot in it. Is Ingmar cracking at the back there or not? Is he going to get back on? Hard to tell from this angle. They're nearly at the top, but Ingmar looks like he might be falling off the group. That will put Saddle Drunk in a very dominant position. 2 out of the top 4. Ingmar not giving up though. They're getting closer and closer to the top, but there might be another fracture here with Rob Miller and Jan Le Goff going off front. Jan Le Goff now pushing ahead of Rob Miller. Rob Miller's been caught by the 2 saddle drunk riders. Ingmar van Beur's for Ratio Racing now off that group. We're down to 4, and is the Frenchman going to make this pay as we near the top of the climb? He's got to get over the top of the climb. If he can make it count on the descent, then I think he's well placed, but it all comes back together again for these 4. But we are down to 4. Jack Somerset slightly off the back. Is he struggling as they reach the top? Will the top come quick enough for him, or will he be dropped by then? I don't think Alex will want to lose him on the hill. He has a teammate and he wants that teammate there, but it's Rob Miller leading the charge. He's about to be overtaken by Jan riding for FFX, so Jan Le Goff now currently in the lead, but the group sticking together. They're very, very near the top of the climb. 8% the gradient though. This is going to be hurting. We changed the settings from test 1, so it should be easier than it would have been under last week's settings. We're on about half reality power now instead of the full thing. It's Rob Miller now pushes it on the front. Can he do some damage at the top of the climb? Can he get over and get into that descent quickly? Jan Le Goff though is not having any of that. He's pulling back. Alex is leading Jack Somerset back to the group as well. I would not expect Alex to fall off the group. I actually know Alex quite well, and he is a very, very strong rider, as we saw last week in Test Race 1 when he stormed away. We get to the top of the summit, we're around the bend, onto the descent. What will happen now? Rob Miller absolutely pushing it, trying to make it count on the descent. The speeds just pile up now. They're absolutely whizzing down there. 46 kph now around this sweeping bend, so there's no real need for braking on that one. It's in a line. This looks like a very professional descent, a natural descent, and I have to hand it to Velo. They make a lot of this look very, very good for racing. Sweeping bends here, so not too much braking. It's in a line, but is Jack Somerset not descending as well as the others? Who knows? Looks like it might come back together. There's braking at the bottom as they have to do this 90-degree turn, and that allows Jack to get back on. He's just got a couple of meters to go. I think Jack will do that if he I would expect him to. You may notice the little wisps, the white lines that go across the road. There's one there. They indicate the wind direction, just so that you know. So they are actually riding into wind at the moment, it would look like. This is spread out. It's in a line, so you want to take the draft on this if you can. We're down to 4.3 kilometres to go. A little bit of a split in the middle with the two saddle drunk riders now off the back of Rob Miller and Jan Le Goff. And will this come back together again? It's difficult to tell on descent because nobody's... you can pedal down them. I'm not experienced enough on Velo yet. It's a new channel. But look what happened. Same as last time. On the descent, got to the bottom, 90-degree bend. The braking kicks in. It pulls it all back together. But this time it's saddle drunk off the front. Two saddle drunk riders on the front now. Rob Miller in third place and Jan Le Goff for FFX in fourth place. So we're heading down to the beach. There's another one of these bends. They're going to have to brake. It's automatic braking. It's done by the program and the app, not the rider. But here we go. Alex Gold trying to get away. This is what he did last week. Probably with a not too distant, but probably a bit nearer the finishing line. But Alex is going for it again. He's going for that long distance win as he did before. Jan Le Goff is responding. Jack Somerset is coming up next, and it looks like Rob Miller has decided not to follow that one. So, maybe... Oh dear. No, sorry, Rob Miller's in there. I beg your pardon. It's Jack Somerset that gets back on. So, everything back together now as Jan Le Goff is in third place, and Alex Gold just in fourth place now. Alex Gold just in front of him. Jack Somerset neatly back in, but Rob Miller a little bit off the front, but not making any gains, and in fact it's coming back together as Jack Somerset off the back in that descent, but now fully in the mix. Jan Le Goff back in, Alex sitting in the slipstream as the numbers come tumbling down. Only 2.7 kilometres to go. Jack Somerset, as I said, off the back on that descent, but now pulling away as he got something left in the tank that can make this count. I thought Alex was going to go for a big long sprint earlier on, but looks like it's all back together, and it is a bit early, you might say, yet. 2.5 kilometres to go. We are, of course, on this second little bump, so the gradient only 4%, so not like the other one. It's not quite as steep, but we've got the strongest climbing riders in this group, so I think they're all going to get over this quite cleanly. They're just coming up to the summit now, and you get the descent and then fairly flat along the coast to the finish as Alex Gold on the front. Can he pull away like he did last week? Jan Le Goff not having any of that. Jack Somerset off the back again, but we've seen him claw it back time again. He does it again. Jack Somerset on the back, saddle drunk with two riders in the top four now. Jack's still struggling to finally close that gap. Somebody's pulling away off the front. It's Rob Miller doing a bit of damage. Can Jack get back on? It looks like he can, but it's agonisingly close, and he must be burning a lot of matches to get back on. He gets back on though. Needs to sit in the draft for a little bit, but goes sailing through on the front. Probably not the best idea, but they're on a descent, -7%, so they can go fast. It's not going to take a lot of effort, so maybe Jack didn't get that too wrong. Heading down to the beach, we're nearly at the bottom of that descent, and we're going to go left onto the beach and around the coast on a fairly flat finish. We've only got 1.7 kilometres to go, so about a mile of racing left. The front four still tightly together. Is Jan off the back? Is Jan the Goff off the back? Maybe not. No, he's back on. These four really are sticking together like glue. I suppose slightly elastic glue, because they did come off the back and rejoin. But at the moment, it's Alex Gold off the back. I think this must be somewhat tactical, or he's just been distracted for a moment. And that is tactical, because he sat back, they weren't watching, and he shot through. And the acceleration he got from being further back created the gap that they now have to try and close. Absolutely superb tactics from Alex. You saw what he did there. Absolutely hung back. They weren't watching him, and the acceleration he got early flew through them, and they're now fighting to get that gap down. It's Rob Miller who's putting in all the effort. They're inside the last kilometre. There's about 800 metres to go. They're not closing the gap down to Alex. Rob Miller is the main protagonist. Jack Somerset chasing up. I'm a little bit surprised at that. I mean, I would have thought Jack would have been quite happy not to work in that group. Jan is the one now that is going to go for it. I think they all played cat and mouse there. Rob slowed down a little bit. Jack caught up. And I think perhaps Rob's run out of steam. Rob's back in fourth place now. Jack's overtaken him. And I think that little moment of indecision in the group has meant that Jan Le Goff now is probably on a forlorn mission trying to close that gap. Alex Gold has played this tactically superbly. 100 metres to go. Another fine win, 2 weeks running for Alex Gold from Saddle Drunk. That was tactical masterclass stuff. Hung back, did the acceleration, caught them all out. And a little bit later on, when none of them were really willing to take it up, he extended that lead and made it impossible. Rob Miller leading the chase for a little while after Alex broke away, burnt out and had to settle for fourth, unfortunately, from the USA. Very much the guy who does a lot of work for R3R. Great chap. Great to see him finish up there. Would have been nice to see him on the podium, but it is what it is, and we have no favourites. So congratulations to everybody who did. Jack Somerset, who looked off the back so many times, managed to end up with a podium position in third. So well done everybody. And who we got now? This is, of course, Ingmar van Beurs, who got dropped off the group, running for Ratio Racing, and 250 metres to go as we watch Ingmar just going round this coastal road towards the finishing line. So he'll pick up fifth position. Now in the Monday Malarkey series, when we start it, fifth position will earn you 96 points, 100 for first, and then counting backwards. So if this were the series itself, that would have been a great result. Tobias Bjork fell off somewhat earlier than the others off the pack, but it is what it is, and he will come in next in. He's behind Rob. Sorry, I've missed something there. Did Ingmar overtake Rob Miller? My goodness. Oh, look at this. Look at that. Tobias just losing a place to Evan Oystensen, and that was a fantastic sprint finish by Evan. I thought Tobias was a shoe-in for that position, but there we are. Not so, it would seem. So we've got Jeff Desmond coming in here now in that rather fetching kit, isn't it? That orange and yellow. I quite like that. Matching bike, of course. Helmet. Shoes are white. Maybe that's deliberate. I don't know. But nevertheless, riding for Feel Good Racing, and you can see FGR on the back of the shorts. So that's obviously the club kit for FGR. As Jeff comes in, Jeff Drummond coming in, 120 metres to go, and as I say, these would be great finishing positions in the series, and it's important to stay in as many races as you can in the series, because as people miss them, you can get huge chunks of points to get ahead of them. So Jeff finishes. We look back next to Peter Mills, saddle drunk rider, who had a bit of a dropout. Managed to get it going again, which Top Jimmy didn't. So well done, Pete, and well ridden. You're going to take a nice little position. You might be further down the groups, but this is one of the things about our races. There might be a big time gap between you and the guy in front of you, but if it's only one position, it's only 1 point. So to a certain extent, you could get to this point and time is not going to matter. You can probably rest up and roll home. But don't get caught out like we just saw back there with Even Oysterson coming through with that extra place for R3R superbly. Great tactics. Evan pulling out a great sprint at the end just to nick that extra place, and of course what we saw from Alex was superb. That dropping back took everybody by surprise and nobody was able to close the gap. Rob Miller expended a lot of energy in trying to do so, and in the end, by the time Jan Ligoff took up the lead, the gap had expanded. Next up, we have Brett Smith with the approximation and colouring of the West London VR kit. And he is just 400 metres from the end as he comes around this familiar coastal road, which we've seen in so many shots now. As I say, look out for in the series. We will be awarding 100 points for the winner. Goes backwards like that. There will be a ladies' league competition as well. The first lady will get 100 points, so even if she finishes 90th, she'll get 100 points. The next lady will get 100 minus however many places she's behind that next lady. So it makes sense if you're a female rider to sprint against some of the men, because if you get an extra couple of places, you either extend or minimise the gap between you and the riders around you, which effectively is like getting extra points for beating the men. Brett comes home and we just have David Tobin left out on the field after this to finish. We like to cover all the riders in our races if we possibly can. Not always possible, but it is what it is. We take a look at Brett just finishing off. David Tobin now. David actually introduced me to smart trainers and got me into this in the first place. So if there's nothing else, I've got to say this is the man who sort of piqued my interest in this and inspired me to do everything that you're watching today. So thanks very much for David for coming along and supporting test races. Thank you for all the people who supported test race. Big shout out to Lee Louie. I know she joined on the start line, but she had one of the settings set wrongly, shall we say. It wasn't clear, and she couldn't get started. Worked out what it was, and the race had already started a bit too late. Let me know about it, but we'll see you next time, Lee. But thanks very much for trying. So sorry it didn't kind of work out tonight, but I'm sure you'll be back for more. We hopefully get a few more lady riders. If not, Lee's going to win the Ladies League competition, isn't she? So tell everybody, we've got one more test race coming up after this, and then the series itself will start. There are trophies, they're small ones, but there are trophies for the winners. So it's all going to be fun as David Tobin, the man who inspired me to get involved in smart trainers and racing in the first place, takes the last position in this test race. Thanks very much for being with us, and this is going to get more and more exciting. Remember, this is racing with no bots. We will always, whatever the turnout, keep it so that there are no bots. So thank you very much for everybody this week, everybody last week who did the test races. One more test race to go. I think they're sorting themselves out. I think from the comments and feedback we've had so far, nothing suggests that nothing major needs changing. We've tweaked a couple of things from last week. Anyway, there's the results. You can freeze frame that to look at it. Top Jimmy, the only DNF, and we'll see you next time.